Oh, to be young again. Who doesn't remember being a crazy, wacky kid and organizing mass mob attacks on businesses and random strangers on site? I mean, besides me and maybe you. 50 young people stormed in Chicago, a Walgreens. They took bottled drinks, they took sandwiches, other items off the shelves as quickly as they can, and then they left. That mob attack was just the latest in a string of other incidences in Chicago we've been telling you about the last few weeks. In Pennsylvania this weekend, a flash mob of about 40 people aged 11 to 19, converged on a Sears store at about 7 p.m. They grabbed sneakers, socks, watches, whatever they could get their hands on, and then left. Thousands in merchandise taken in seconds. The mob was organized on a social networking site. I'm pretty sure Saul Alinsky talked about this in his book. You know, the one that mentions Lucifer as the first rebel? Yeah. He mentioned this as a way of overwhelming the system. You know, you don't want to protest with just one person, but if you can get 50 people to protest, well, then they don't have enough cops. There just wasn't any Facebook when he wrote that. Everywhere in Pennsylvania, these kinds of things are starting to break out. A woman from Pennsylvania, her leg was broken. Several others were injured when a large teen mob of 30 or 40 men and women began assaulting pedestrians on Broad Street in downtown Philadelphia. They heard someone just yell, "Run, run," and the next thing, punches were being thrown. When they ran, the mob chased them down, and they kicked and punched them at will in the middle of the street. And when they fell to the ground, they didn't stop. If it weren't for a few women in the group that suddenly had an attack of conscience that protected this other woman, it would have been much, much worse. In Washington, D.C. this weekend, there was a joyous celebration at a Caribbean festival. Who doesn't make, I mean, when you're listening to Bob Marley, who just doesn't want to do this? Really? I find it amazing that the left calls me and anybody on the right dangerous, yet it is the leftists who are urging the youth to get angry and take to the streets, as teen unemployment now stands at 25%. How's that hope and change working for you? Reminds me of Francis Fox Piven, quote, "So where are the angry crowds and the demonstrations and the sit-ins and the unruly mobs? Oh, Francis, you've worked so hard. You, I think, will see them soon." Oh, you already are. It's almost like they're giving out advice and people in the streets are taking it. If nothing is done, it will get worse. And it will begin to look like Europe. But isn't that the socialist progressive utopia? We need to be more like Europe. That's what's happening in Europe. At some point, it was, I believe, in the 1880s, the elites in this country, along with Woodrow Wilson, decided we needed to be more like Europe and we needed to model them. Well, they've accumulated massive debt. They've had all kinds of red tape. It's impossible to do business there, and now Europe is self-destructing. Italy's youth unemployment rate is now 28.5%. Spain, on top of their 21 overall unemployment, has a youth unemployment of 44%. That's going to work out well. Now the states are forced into making cuts, and people are in the streets. But that sounds totally unlike what's happening here in America. Here in America, we're just chanting, "What does democracy look like?" Well, let me show you what democracy looks like. This is over in Egypt now. Oh, the home of the brave and land of the free. These are police cars that are going down the street over and over again. You compare this democracy with the way our democracy is looking in our streets. Oh, wait a minute, we're not a democracy. That's right, we're a republic. This is what democracy looks like. Know the difference between democracy and a republic. Better yet, know the difference between democracy and freedom. Because freedom can only come when you have responsibility. But that's not where we're headed. That's not where Europe is headed. That's not where the Middle East is headed. That's not where South America is headed, is it? Is anybody talking about responsibility? Except the responsibility that goes to somebody else that is richer than you. Let me go back to Egypt. Watch this. This is what's happening over the weekend.
عايز اقول ان الديمقراطيه فكر ظلامي، مفيش على رؤوسنا بطح، فكر ظلامي رجعي متخلف. الحريات الموجوده في النظام الديمقراطي، حريه المراه، حريه التملك، حريه الشذوذ الجنسي، حريه شخصيه، حريه الراي والتعبير، يكفر بخالق الارض والسماوات، يزني ويزنى به.
Oh. Isn't that horrible? It's just freedom, of course, leads to all crazy things like, you know, women and homosexuals buying a car or a house and going to the bank. That'd be crazy. America. Hello! When are you going to wake up? Maybe it's just me. Good thing this guy is only an Egyptian sheikh that has the ear of a country. And, of course, there's a Muslim Brotherhood, which is completely unlike this guy. The Muslim Brotherhood, they don't even know the word caliphate. Well, I mean, sure they do, but they won't admit that. Most of America didn't even know what a caliphate was until we brought it up on this program, and still, most of this country doesn't know what a caliphate is or was. Better brush up on it. Here's the Muslim Brotherhood's former spokesperson in the West saying this: why shouldn't we have a country called the United States of Islam? I propose that the Arab peoples who demonstrated for the sake of revolution take to the streets with a slogan, "The Arab people wants to remove the borders between its countries." That's fantastic. Wait a minute. That's the same thing the socialists are saying here about us with Mexico. They're trying to get rid of the borders. Wait a minute. That's the same thing that George Soros says. His open society, what is it? That's right, it's a borderless world. What are the odds? That's crazy, isn't it? Oh, what's your problem? Oh, why do you hate Arabs so much? Why do you hate everybody who's different than you just so much? These are crazy. Of course, we've got them on videotape. We've got all the proof. That's crazy. Yeah, pay no attention to any of this. George Soros is a philanthropist. He just has an organization that happens to be working with socialists and Islamists to create a region of the world with no borders. I mean, what? Nothing to see here, people. Move on. .org. Move on. Soros, by the way, has come out over the weekend and said that Europe is on the verge of collapse. A leopard never changes his spots. Do you, George? Seems to me we said you would do that. I believe in January we said, uh-oh, look out, because when he comes out and says, there's nothing left, that's usually when that fundamental transformation is right around the corner. By the way, he also said that now is the time to correct the fundamental flaws in the system. His idea, totally out of the box: more centralized power, more taxes, and more control on the banks. What? This is what democracy looks like. Yeah. Vlad the Impaler, is that you? I thought so. There's only 4 ways that this can end. Tonight, I will show them to you. Come on. Oh boy. Hello, America. We have a studio audience tonight. I can't believe how many people actually want to come and watch the last 4 episodes of the show. Thank you for that. We do have only 4 shows left here on the Fox network, and we are grateful for every moment of airtime that we have been given, and I am truly grateful for all of the time that you have spent with us over the last 2 years. Thursday is our last broadcast. I want to stay in touch with you. Will you please go to glennbeck.com and find out the information of where I'll be, how we can remain in touch, and sign up for my free email newsletter. It's imperative that we stay in touch with each other. Last night, I was reading a story on zerohedge.com. I want to give you the basic gist of all of it. The gist is, this whole thing that we've got going on can only end in one of four ways. One, the debt trap. The debt trap. This is, where you just keep spending money and borrowing more money. We're doing that now. You try to spend your way out of it. Two, hyperinflation. Print your way out of it. We're doing a little of that one too. Here's a unique one you've probably never heard of. Austerity, but in conjunction with actual economic growth. For those of you who are no longer familiar with economic growth, that's when somebody besides the government creates jobs which create something of lasting value. I know, it's so old-fashioned. Nobody's even considering that one because it means cut the spending, cut the size of government and the red tape, and allow entrepreneurs and actual people to create. Yeah, I know. Free people. Ugh. It's almost like they're monkeys or something. Free people. Oh, I feel like I'm in a Lifetime movie. I can't get clean. I can't get clean. I know. Good thing there's not a lot of free people around anymore. Get out of bed with the giant global corporations would be some people's advice if you wanted to do this one. Whatever. Get out of bed with companies, like GM or GE or GS, George Soros, and get into bed with free people. The little people. Let them create. Let them dream something up. Like one of them is going to come up with a light bulb. Please. Please, wasn't a little person. We know who that was. It was like one of the presidents or something, I'm pretty sure. Also, what you would do on this is you'd keep taxes low. Spending low, red tape low, taxes low, free people up. It would never work. The fourth thing is default. Yeah, a lot of us know what this one is. In fact, a lot of people on the left are encouraging people all over America to try this one on their home loans and stuff. That's when you say, I'm not going to pay for this, and then somebody comes in and takes the stuff that you have. This is kind of like what it'll be like when, China comes to collect. They'll just take the stuff we have. Now, the option that they're pursuing overseas is the third one, austerity. But not with the low taxes and not with the cutting of the red tape. In fact, nobody over there is willing to work anymore. It's like, what? I'm 28 years old. I'm in retirement. It's going to work out well. In Europe, the result has been similar to, if I just came over here, and no, I don't have it. Here, this will probably work. If I just took this, and this is Jackie, and I took this, and I held it over Jackie's face for a while, and I was held it there, and she's like, and that's pretty much what it's like, okay? That's Europe. Not going to work out real well. Unless you're in the, let's say, Molotov cocktail manufacturing business, then you in Europe, you got a booming business. No pun intended. Austerity plus higher taxes and more red tape, not good policy. But lucky for us, that's what our president is doing. He's following that. He even bragged about following the so innovative Spaniards on their green economy. In fact, this I think is what Michelle Obama was referring to when she said this the other day.
I think there's so much more work to do. We've really just begun to lay the foundation.
I'm pretty sure, take six, I'm pretty sure these guys laid the foundation. What foundation are you talking about, Michelle? We do still have work to do here in America. We got to get up to 20% unemployment, huh? The Spaniards are beating us. But we'll also be totally green. This is a bizarre trend from the Obama administration, looking at a failed economic system to save our economy. But that's what we do now. We look at somebody who's making it miserable for everybody and we say, wait a minute, how did Romney do that up in Massachusetts? Because I got to get me some of that. That's how we modeled Obamacare after the failure that is Romneycare. I was going to say call me crazy, but everybody in the media has, so it wouldn't be anything new. Call me a thinker. It's crazy. It's off the top of my head. But why wouldn't you try things that are actually working? Hear me out. I know. You're like, Glenn Beck, what are you? Yeah. Obama said he wasn't an ideologue. He was a pragmatist. If that's true, shouldn't he be on the phone with almost anybody in Texas? Wouldn't he just be random dialing numbers in Texas? Hello, Texas here. Yeah, could you tell us what you're doing? Because it seems to be working. Texas right now is creating half the jobs, or darn near half the jobs. Texas job creation, 237,000 jobs. Other 49 states, 259,000. Got it? Now, I'm not a brilliant Harvard pragmatist, smartest president ever. Forget Jefferson. He was a slave owner. Forget about him. No, this guy, he's so smart. He's insisting that we be more like Europeans. Well, the good news is we are. We are racking up the debt. But now they're cloaking it as something new here in America. Why? Now it's the American dream. No, it's the European dream. And it's not working out. May I ask again, why not look to those things that work? Maybe it's because the elites can't possibly learn from anything in those flyover states. You know, all those people with the low sloping foreheads, Neanderthals. I'm telling you, Lovey, they are. That was David Carr, his quote from the New York Times. He said that this weekend. Low sloping foreheads, the people in the middle of the country. Oh, that's so nice of you.
Thank you, David.
Now, here's how the elites at MSNBC reacted to a recent speech
given from my favorite governor, Rick Perry. Watch. Here they are, NBC.
This comes, after Perry got a huge response. Now, I watched this. I felt like an alien watching this from the audience.
You felt like an alien?
I did. I felt like an alien.
What do you mean? You know, I think I saw this guy on Broadway.
Now, this is after the clip they played right before this is Perry saying, we have to get back to the entrepreneur. Yeah, no surprise there that they would consider somebody from the middle of the country an alien creature that they can't relate to. They went on to say that, but Texas has a big debt. Yeah. Now, I'm surprised that the folks over at MSNBC would be, acting so concerned about the financial status of a state. Now, I'm no fan of debt. But there has to be a little bit of debt. I mean, maybe not. If you can do it, God bless you. Every state has it. But Forbes magazine has just done a special on debt. And I read like all of the short words in it. They did an interesting analysis of the debt of every state. And they found that Texas has the fourth best overall situation in the entire country, behind Nebraska, New Hampshire, and Utah. Maybe we should look at those states. What are they doing right? The debt MSNBC is so concerned about in Texas is 1/6 of the amount of debt that the state that they're broadcasting from, New York, has. That's true even though New York has some of the highest taxes in America. And Texas has no state income tax, something I've been thinking an awful lot about lately. Well, let's all think about no state income tax for a while. Can you feel the love tonight? Okay. Texas has 1/6 of the debt per capita of New York, 1/7 of New Jersey, 1/8 of Massachusetts, 1/9 of Connecticut. Texas also has pension obligations that are less than half of New Jersey and Connecticut, and 1/3 of that huge, enormous state called Rhode Island. Yes, And let's not forget that last month, S&P gave Texas government bonds a AA+ rating. They said the state's economy will likely recover quicker than other states. Texas, by the way, is now the second largest economy, passing, you guessed it, MSNBC, New York. It's one of the 3 biggest gains in economic size of any state in America over the last 50 years. Not to mention from 2008 to 2010, again, the whole job thing, while California was losing 1.2 million jobs. We should be more like California, don't you think? Remember these things. When you hear Barack Obama take credit for all the jobs he created, just remember these things. There is one state run by policies that are in complete disagreement with this president that created a lot of the jobs. I'm going to introduce you to somebody who kind of knows it, but you might feel like an alien next.